Some news to start off the day. The Chicago Bulls have decided to fire Jim Boylen. Good decision too. He sucked as a coach. It says there was a moment there when you thought Jim Boylen was going to remain the Bulls head coach. It wasn't there, and when I say a moment, I mean a few months. Um, um. So yeah, I don't know why they tortured us so long for that decision. But after going 17-41 in the last year, they decided to fire him. But he was only the head coach for a couple years. Um, but why the organization tortured Listen Boylan for so long is one of the great mysteries of our time. But the important thing is that in the end, they did the right thing in firing him. The Bulls announced Friday morning that they were parting company with their punchline of a head coach. The search begins for a new replacement, and the search begins for a replacement, and the new Bulls vice president Arturas Karnasovis will be looking for someone who can get players' attention and earn their respect. It would help if Karnasovis could find players capable of winning games. But Friday's decision was all about the failings of a head coach who might have worked in the NBA but was out of the league. The first impressions are important, and Boylan is trying to establish that his was going to be a tight ship made one that he could never shake. He said about letting people know that there was a new sheriff in town after replacing Fred Hoiberg, who would have been loungewear if he had been any more low key. This sheriff had players doing wind sprints and push-ups the first week. Wind sprints and push-ups to an NBA player are like inflatable water wings and nose plugs to an Olympic swimmer. It might seem simplistic to say that Boylan's reputation never recovered, but simple happens to work. He was 11 stock league wide that first week, and He's followed him around the rest of his tenure. His habit of calling late timeouts in games that were like basically well out of reach for the Bulls frustrated fans, players, opposing teams, broadcasters, and possibly the Dalai Lama. He stubbornly said he was tasked with teaching his young players whenever a teachable moment arose. We screamed for him to teach them on his own time. There had been no need for the Bulls to keep Boylan hanging like this. None. The team wasn't playing games wasn't playing games because it hadn't been good enough to make the NBA's bubble rama. There was nothing more to know about Boylan that wasn't already known. Per team president Michael Reinsdorf's instructions, Karnasovis was giving the coach's fate his full attention, but with no basketball and more than enough evidence to go on, this shouldn't have gone on for so long. Fans were left to dread that the organization might do the unthinkable, and Boylan was left up in the air. And really, what else was there to think? The team hasn't really done much since Jordan left, and it wasn't out of the realm of possibility that Boylan had ingratiated himself with an owner who doesn't like the media telling him what to do. But there was no getting around the fact that Boylan had become the perfect prow for the USS Goofy. Fair or not to say, he was the target for much of the criticism surrounding the team. Attendance at the United Center fell. It couldn't go on like this, and not if the Bulls were serious about turning things around. When the Reinsdorfs broke up the Gar Forman and John Paxson this season and brought in Karnasovis, it looked like the end for Boylan. The end just took a lot longer than it should have. But the Bulls players wanted their voices heard and whether or not Boylan would remain in the job. But in 2 seasons, he went 39-84, and the record didn't deserve to have a voice in what was for breakfast, let alone who was in charge. Now it will be someone else's turn to figure out why Larry Markkinen hasn't progressed into the player people thought he would. Maybe that someone will be the 76ers assistant, Emi Udokoa, whose stock is high around the NBA. Whoever it is, will have to figure out all the things that are wrong with this team. The simple answer right now is that it was all Boylan's fault, and it wasn't. But he sure made it easy to blame him. And yep, there we go.